gentlemen from overseas. I'm your host Faraz Darvesh. We just finished 2016 and now we are entering into 2017. So let's just we will do a quick recap to capture what were the key events that took place in 2016 in the world of politics, in terms of Pakistan, in terms of India-Pakistan relations, in terms of US-Pakistan relations. And then let's discuss, do some prediction and do some analysis what we should be expecting in the world of politics in terms of 2017. What will be the key events that are going to take place, what could take place, how the political dynamics will change in the Middle East, in India-Pakistan region, and in what's going to be happening once the President-elect Donald Trump takes over his office. So I have with me Riaz Haq Sahab, thank you very much, Ms. Azam. Ms. Azam, let me start with you. Tell me how do you see 2016, how it went, and what were the key events that took place in terms of political arena?
You see, it was a pretty eventful year, as we all know, especially...
We got some surprises as well.
Especially that we saw the rise of the kind of right-wing views, demagogueries,
So right-wing is on the rise both in Europe, America,
even to Asia, you can see. But if you talk about Modi Saab was there before. But obviously
those sentiments are at rise.
That's correct, because last year December, 2015 December, what was happening that Pakistan and Mr. Modi was in Pakistan.
So let's do the recap. What were the key events that took place that you think that are going to have an impact in 2017 as well?
Well, the biggest impact would be, we have yet to see that President-elect Donald Trump, he won the elections, and now we have to see the people he nominated for his cabinet. That would be interesting to see how they came out and how they behave in coming days.
Let's move the gear towards Pakistan.
In Pakistan, I would see that Mr. Nawaz Sharif came out from another crisis created by, as their old rival PTI. He started having this dharna, and from PTI's point of view, another defeat he had in politics by having failed attempt to topple the government.
So Mia Nawaz Sharif's government survived another year.
Another year, and another interesting thing happened in Pakistan was the smooth transition in the military leadership, which was usually not very usually not very smooth in previous years. So that is the good part. But obviously, coming days will tell how it will impact all over the coming days.
Come over to you. Recap of 2016.
Yeah, so let me focus. I think you heard a little bit about the political side. Let me talk a little bit about the security and economy side, which was a very important year for Pakistan. I think it was generally a good year. We saw a continuing dramatic reduction in the terror casualties in Pakistan. The latest data from South Asia Terrorism Portal, which actually tracks terror incidents around the world, particularly in South Asia, shows that the number of total fatalities in Pakistan dropped from 1,801 to 1,801 from 3,682, so about half. From 2015 to 2016.
How much were the casualties in 2015?
In 2015 was 3,682.
Okay.
It dropped to 1,801.
Okay.
That's the total number. And it's way down from 11,700 in 2009. So that downtrend continued in 2016. The other important piece of data is about civilian deaths, how many civilians were killed as a result of terror incidents. And that came down from 940 in 2015 to 612 in 2016. So there again, a drop. And then they're way down from 3,007 casualties, over 3,000 casualties in 2012 and 13.
Right.
So that downtrend continued.
In Pakistan.
In Pakistan.
Right.
The biggest changes they saw were in Karachi. where the government action is actually creating a fairly peaceful city now. In, I think,
Well, that would be too strong of an argument to say that it's a peaceful city now.
Comparatively.
yeah, but I'm giving you data.
Right.
So you can judge, whether it's peaceful or not. But it used to be number 3 most dangerous city in the world, 3rd most dangerous city. Now it's down to 30, and it's actually dropping. It's actually, there are 30 cities.
Which data is this one?
This is from international organizations. There's a place called Numbio International, which has a
Well, we know
index.
that the
Yeah.
death toll and the terrorist activities dropped in Karachi.
Yeah.
That's
overall.
true, it
The
is.
target killing.
So
right.
there have been a number of, like for example, one of the data points that they have here is there are like 533 extortion cases in 2013.
Yeah.
In 2016, they came down to 133, the extortion meaning bata.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So they used to collect data. In terms of sectarian killings, there were 38 Shia minority deaths in Karachi in 2013. That came down to came down by 2/3, so which is about 10 in 2016. So there have been a lot of
10 in
improvements
2016 just in Karachi?
in Karachi. We're talking about
No,
Karachi.
I know. I mean, I can tell you there have been more than 10 deaths.
Yeah, but this is data from organizations that actually collect this
we can
data.
go and I can challenge this data because there's been more than 10 deaths, not just Shias but overall the minority killings.
No,
more than
Yes.
the Shia in particular.
Okay, so even in Shia in particular, it's been more than 10. Yeah.
So this is the data, by the way, this is from an organization
Right.
that is considered quite reliable.
Right.
So in general, there's a significant improvement, and one of the things that has happened as a result of improvement in security is that the economy has actually improved dramatically as well. The GDP growth rate is now about between 5 and 6%. Now it used to be down like about 3 to 4%. The other big thing that happened last year is the stock market. It was one of the best performing stock markets in the world. It rose 46% in 2016 over 1 year. And if you look at the 5-year data, which is over the last 5 years, the Karachi Stock Exchange 100 index has risen by 320%.
Okay.
Which is outperforming all of the other indices, like, the emerging market indices, the Indian stock market index, et cetera, et cetera. So there's been a dramatic improvement in terms of both the security
I
and the
don't know
economy.
much about the economy, so you can probably talk about it. But I know that the data Riaz showed on the sectarian killing, there's been more than that. So I'm not sure, but I want to hear from you.
Yeah, see, as far as the economy is concerned, that the thing is that stock market is soaring up. It is going up
Right.
for a couple of years.
So the investors' confidence is at rise, right?
But that is not very important part of Pakistan's economy. I mean, it does not make too much.
What is our
difference,
growth
you know,
rate?
so-
Is it still?
That's true. I was coming to
It's going to
that.
be over 5%
That's
this year. It's
correct.
gonna be probably
Yes,
around
that
5.
is more important.
5 to 6%.
Yeah.
That's the prediction from the State Bank.
We are going to see in June that what is the growth rate this fiscal year, although they predicted 5.1 or something,
Okay.
so we have to see.
But I
that
think there are
it's
reasons to
going
believe why that is happening.
Yeah.
I mean, CPEC is a big thing.
Right.
There not only there was a commitment of $45 billion that China made back in 2015. Now they've been added a number of other projects to CPEC, and total as of now is about $54 billion. So there's that improvement that is going on.
So let me discuss the failure of national action plan, because what we saw that there
Well,
would be
let's
national action
make
plan.
sure that we don't just focus on the negatives. Let's talk about the
Well,
positives
why not?
too.
Why not
No,
negatives?
what I'm saying is that we should talk about the total picture.
Right.
Let's put some balance in
is
the picture.
failure of national
Don't just
action
say
plan.
that.
No,
that
is the-
this
so
happened and
you're,
this
so
didn't
you're
happen.
saying the failure of national action plans is irrelevant.
No, I didn't say that. You didn't hear me. You're so focused on the negative
No,
that
no,
any
you're
mention
so
of
focused on positive
you
that
want
the
to
data-
immediately say, okay, let's talk about the negatives.
You're so focused on the positive, the data you're showing.
No, I have
about
all
the
data
number
on
of
that too.
casualties. I can challenge you. After the show, I can challenge you. It's been more than 10 deaths.
These are data from reputable organizations.
Yeah, I will show you the data from a reputable organization as well. Let's see what SATP is saying, the South Asia Terrorism Portal, what that is saying about the deaths of Shias or the other minorities in 2016. It's more than what you just quoted.
They track this data better than anybody else. So you may have different figures. I understand that. The bottom line is that it may be, maybe it's not 10 if you think, maybe it's 12. But it's significantly down from 36, that was 3 years ago.
Right.
So the overall picture,
actually
I'm talking about trends rather than one specific.
So what is the hurdle in talking about the failure of national action?
No, we should talk about that. I'm not saying we shouldn't talk about it.
Okay, so this is my question. Go ahead, Misbah.
Yeah, so National Action Plan is basically the two parts, you know. I mean, the part is that military has to do, part of that civilian government has to do. And now it seems that, military has to do some actions, you know, like real actions on the ground, you know. And obviously they are taking those actions.
What about the civilian government?
But the thing is that civilian government is not as prompt in doing things. They have these political.
So should we not blame them?
Blame whom?
The civilian.
No,
civilian failure.
No. It is civilian failure. But the thing is that
civilian government failure, not.
No, but civilian government did lot of things to military government also, like the constitutional amendments they gave them. The military courts were allowed to, to operate and all that. So obviously, civilian government did some part. So you cannot say it's total failure. They did that.
Okay.
But the thing is that wherever, see, there is if you go to the website of U.S. government where they talk about democracy versus non-democracy, that's what they say, that this political process is kind of slow always. I mean, it is not going to be overnight it happens.
Let me get your opinion on the India-Pakistan relations in 2016. I mean,
let me talk about this National Action Plan that you just brought up. I think there are two different things. One is the issue of curbing violence, okay, which requires the use of force. And I think on that front there has been a lot of progress. As far as dealing with the extremist ideology is concerned, and extremism is concerned, that's a different issue. Although one is related to the other. The difference is that in terms of curbing violence, you can use force to stop the violence. But in terms of changing ideologies, like changing the hearts and minds of the people, it is not a short-term project. You can't do it in a year or 2 years or 5 years. You have to have a constant effort, and everybody, not just government. I wouldn't just blame the government for it. I think it's the whole society that has to work on it. And by that I mean not only the government, but also educators, about civil society, the various non-governmental organizations. You know, it's a longer term project.
They can at least put the ban on hate speeches, right, which they did not.
Yeah, but again, you're talking about force rather than changing people's minds. So they're very different things. Well, you know, when you talk about stopping hate speech, are you going to go put everybody in jail that engages in hate speech?
Stop those guys who are delivering hate speech.
There's a lot of them.
Take action.
There's a lot of them, and they have a lot of support in society. So I think you're talking about essentially, if you want to end this, if you want to bring, first of all, you can never end extremism. Every society has its level of extremism. What you can do is bring it to a manageable level. And for that, every person in society, all of the major sectors of society have to participate.
Yeah.
Right, let's go over to the Indian.
I mean, for example, one big part of it is the curriculum. If you don't do curriculum reform, if you don't change the textbooks, a lot of this is going to continue.
Yeah,
these are bigger efforts.
And that is something has to
And it takes generations to change. It doesn't change in one generation. It takes 2 or 3 generations.
That's true, because you have to.
Let's go over to the
whole
deterioration of India-Pakistan relations in 2016. I personally think they deteriorated.
No, it is deteriorated, and my first comment was that in 2015 December we were seeing Prime Minister Modi was visiting here, and now it is a very different situation.
Now there was a Pathankot,
December,
there was Uri, but both were blamed on Pakistan.
Yeah, see, so in December 2015, as you and I saw, that there was a very nice gestures from both countries, but Pathankot happened.
Modi Sahab came to Pakistan
Modi
on a
Sahab
surprise
came to
visit.
Pakistan, a surprise visit. But what happens in 2016 then? Then first of all,
The Pathankot and
happened.
Uri and India blamed both Pathankot and Uri on Pakistan.
Actually, Pathankot, Pakistan worked with them, and Pakistan kind of helped them, assist them in finding out people, and they even
So they cooperated in terms of intelligence gathering. Right.
not only that, but there was an FIR also launched from by the government of Pakistan,
Right.
and there was another incident about to happen in some sort of puja procession there, and Pakistan government
Leaked the
informed
information,
Indians, and then
Which was a good gesture from Pakistan.
This was a very
so this
good
is something
gesture.
Indian friends need to realize and need to understand that
Yeah, but
Pakistan
the-
itself is fighting a terrorism within its own borders. But then again, Pakistan is cooperating in terms of intelligence sharing.
India has a dilemma here, that the problem is that their constituency, which is supporting
Right-wing
Modi Sahab,
constituency,
right-wing constituency,
Right.
Modi Sahab has to keep them happy to win the election in
Right,
Bihar, in UP
Right,
and
right,
Punjab
right.
and all that. So,
So-
obviously he has to
Right. So
make
let me
things
go over to
here.
Riyaz, the deterioration of India-Pakistan relations.
Yeah, I think the biggest factor in this deterioration of relations was really the murder of Burhan Wani and the start of the Kashmir Intifada. Essentially, they started to rise up again. And instead of dealing with the real issue of Kashmir, what Modi government decided was to blame it all on Pakistan and say it's all terrorism, it's all because of Pakistan.
Right.
And then they started to try to isolate Pakistan by telling the whole world, hey, they're causing all these problems, they're really not, indigenous, there's no indigenous movement in Kashmir. So I think that's been the basis, that's been the root of what we have seen in terms of deterioration.
Right, now moving forward, how do you see India-Pakistan relations in 2017?
I don't see any immediate improvement, although there are voices within India now that are telling Modi government, hey, start talking to Pakistan. You don't have an alternative. I mean, even people like, their own BJP leaders from the past, like Yashwant Sinha, just recently came up with this, and a number of other former, Indian leaders have
Right.
said, hey, Mr. Modi, you don't have a choice but to talk to Pakistan. You have to talk to Pakistan if you want to improve relations. Trying to just isolate Pakistan is not going to work.
It's not going to work. Ms. Bhatt.
Yeah, I'm not going to see any kind of big change there, because see, after the election of UP, whatever result may come, but 2019 they have a second elections coming, so obviously
Well,
they
we
have
have
to prepare
an
for
election
that.
coming in
No,
2018.
but Pakistan election has nothing to do with India-Pakistan issues.
It's not fought on that issue.
Nobody fight on that. But in India, this is the important thing, and I think that this...
Especially the Hindu nationalists or
That's
right-wing
true,
nationalists
and
use this.
that's true, and this thing will, this status quo will stay there. However, India has learned one thing at least, that, his all effort to isolate Pakistan is kind of failing. India is kind of losing that diplomacy there in one sense.
Right.
And now, Modi Sahab has a habit of giving surprises. So there is a good chance, not a good chance, but there is a chance, like as Riyaz Sahab said, that people are talking inside
Right,
also.
right.
So suddenly, he just decided
Right.
to start...
Let me go over to
going
US-Pakistan relations. Now, President-elect is going to take over office in January, this month. Now, tell me, how do you foresee this? How will the Pakistan and US-Pakistan relations will work out under the President-elect Donald Trump?
See, first of all, whatever is happening nowadays, they say that these think tanks should have come up with a new theories of the political science, that what predicted did not happen.
Okay.
Everything happened in very different ways. So right away, we cannot say anything, but Pakistan would be under pressure for sure, because the people he is
But there is also an opinion that whenever the Republicans are in power in US, they are more favorable for Pakistan.
It's not entirely true, because see, the thing is that when Republicans were there, Pakistan has a military government, and that time US need Pakistan to fight against the communism. Then General Zia's time, first couple of years, first 1 year or something before the Afghanistan attack. You know, our
So
foreign
you're
credits were
saying
almost dried up,
You're saying Pakistan will be under pressure under Donald Trump.
That's true. It will be pressure.
Much more pressure than what we saw under President Obama.
I don't think so. I think
So it will be less pressure.
No, it will stay the same.
Okay.
I mean, I would not
You don't
see
see any
kind
change?
of big change.
What should happen from Pakistani side?
What should?
Well, I'm saying, you know, in terms of improving relations, does Pakistan need to do anything different with America under President Donald Trump?
Well, I mean, the thing is that Afghanistan is the main bone of contention there between
And
these two
the
countries.
point of
you know,
conflict
I mean,
will
that
stay
is-
as Taliban.
That's true, as long
Okay,
as.
right.
But interesting thing is that, as Najam Sethi Saab mentioned some month ago, that in military, I mean, and that was quote unquote his bird's.
Right, there is a realization in military that Afghan
we are
Taliban are
gonna
not
support
really our
Afghan
allies.
Taliban
Right,
and all
right.
that. So basically,
Riaz,
that is the thing. if
same
that
question
happens,
over to you.
things may change.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the way Obama administration has dealt with Pakistan, the latest example is just last week, Obama announced sanctions on 7 more Pakistani entities that have to do with the missile development program. And that is particularly NASCOM, National Engineering
Yeah.
and Science Commission, and the various groups that operate under it, for example, the air weapons complex.
Okay.
So Obama has not been a friend of Pakistan. In fact, I wouldn't be wrong to say that Obama has been probably the most hostile U.S. president toward Pakistan in recent history. The relationship between Pakistan and the United States sunk to an all-time low back in 2011 when the U.S. troops attacked 2 Pakistani posts in
Salalah
Salalah,
incident.
and they killed 24 Pakistani soldiers, and then they refused to apologize. And then Pakistan responded by cutting off supply routes through Pakistan to Afghanistan to NATO troops. And then eventually, U.S. had to apologize in 2012. That's when Pakistan reopened those routes.
So how do you see this going forward in 2017?
If you look at Obama's record, it's not very good as far as Pakistan is. In fact, on the other hand, he was very close to India. Not only did he visit India twice, never once went to Pakistan.
How will it be different?
Let me finish. Obama also, pushed India's entry. He's pushing India's entry into NSG, Nuclear Suppliers Group, and trying to keep Pakistan out. So I think anything that comes after Obama will likely be better, if not the same. And if Trump's initial call, President-elect Trump's initial call, it was a very, very friendly call with Nawaz Sharif. If it's any guide, I think there is room here for a warming up of relations between Pakistan and the United States. At the same time as the U.S. has, Obama pursued this hostile policy toward Pakistan, Pakistan has cemented its ties with China, becoming even closer with huge investments coming in from China and more collaboration in terms of defense and other industries. Pakistan has also warmed up its ties with its old-time foe, the Russians. And in fact, we had held the first ever military exercises with Russia. And just last week, Russia, China, and Pakistan held a trilateral conference on Afghanistan in Moscow. So I think the Pakistanis have already indicated to them, hey, if you don't want to be our friends, that's fine. We have plenty of other friends.
So let's go.
Yeah, just one comment. I mean, agreeing with Riaz Saab about Obama's whatever he says, because if you remember when Obama was not president, when he was a senator in Chicago, he mentioned that he suggested that Pakistan should be bombed. The areas, border areas should be bombed. We should bomb them and finish up the trouble. And obviously, in his time, there is a maximum drone attacks. Although drone attacks are more controlled by the CIA, but still, that was the.
So he ordered them.
That's true. I mean, he.
So okay, let's move.
As a matter of fact, people think that Obama has not been a warmonger. It's because he did not have any overt wars. But he, as far as drone attacks are concerned, covert wars are concerned, there's at least a dozen covert wars that started under his administration.
Even in Afghanistan, a lot of drone attacks
So let me.
But one point, saying that it would be better, I don't see anything better. That's what I wanted
Okay,
to say.
so let me
It
move
just
towards
stay the same.
changing dynamics in Syria, and looks like Russia has emerged as one of the major power. Now, how do you see this going forward, the changing dynamics, what we just saw in Aleppo, with Bashar al-Assad taking over those cities?
Yeah, actually, the thing is that over there in Syria, I kind of like President-elect's comment about that, I mean, let's not worry about Assad at this time, and let's fight the ISIS. ISIS is the bigger problem here.
So you think Donald
So-
Trump has a clear policy on Syria?
Actually, I don't know, because see, at one hand he say that he wants to fight against ISIS, but at the other hand he threatens Iran also. So these things are kind of mutually
Because
exclusive.
Iran
I
is the
mean,
major
Iran is
player
the major
who is
player
fighting against
that.
ISIS.
So either he's saying he's just threatening Iran, or he's just threatening ISIS. I mean, one of the thing he has to.
Well, because he
has to give up.
needs Iran to fight against ISIS. So you're saying.
What I'm saying is that either he's saying this all things to Iran just to keep the certain lobbies happy there, like that whatever he said during the election campaign to keep them happy, or
But-
going against ISIS is he's not going to do. He would be following the same
Footsteps as
same
President
steps
Obama.
as President Obama, with minor difference. Then he has more assistance to Russians maybe.
Yeah, I think the latest news that you probably heard that Turkey, Russia, and Iran have brokered a ceasefire
That's true.
in Syria, and that is holding. And that has been done without US participation. So that's an indication of where things are going. And I think Obama, in a way, has made US irrelevant in that part of the world by just sitting back and not actively participating, even though US started the whole deal. I mean, all this rise of ISIS, this guy, CIA agent who actually interrogated Saddam Hussein, he's just written a book called, it's titled Debriefing the President. His name is John Nixon. And he said that they were asking him about what he thought about Saddam Hussein as a result of his interrogations. And he said there's two things that stick in my mind that Saddam predicted before he was executed. One was the rise of ISIS, and the second was the rise of sectarianism in that part of the world. And US has made a huge contribution to that. In fact, John Nixon says that if we had not invaded Iraq and we had let Saddam stay, things would be better in the Middle East today.
So how do you
US
see-
intervention has actually hurt, not helped.
How do
the
you
Middle
see
East.
changing dynamics in Middle East in 2017?
Well, it's hard to say right now. I think the US has either to accept the fact that it is irrelevant or play a constructive role. It has not
And
played
what
a
will be
constructive-
that constructive?
I think the constructive role would be to, instead of start these bombings and arm these different groups, try to work toward creating some sort of a ceasefire and trying to promote people who actually have a chance of bringing that under control. I mean, it's one thing to talk about democracy and freedom and to go and support certain groups in the name of democracy and freedom. It's another to try and bring some peace and security to these nations, because you can't have democracy and freedom in countries which have no peace and security.
There's always fight there. And there is also very interesting thing that a declassified document by in 2012, and this question was asked by our friend Mehdi Hassan he asked this question to General Flynn also 1 year ago, 2 years ago. And that declassified document say that US policy was to create a selfie principality there, inside the Syria, which is selfie principality is ISIS basically. And
Well,
US
that
was
is coming
keeping
from
the-
Saudi, which is the closest ally.
Yes, but the thing is that it seems that US was kind of using it, and the word was that considered it as their assets.
Well,
So-
how could the Salafi or Wahhabis be in assets? Because Al Qaeda to ISIS to Boko Haram to all these militant groups, their ideology
See,
is
the
a
problem is
Salafi
that-
Wahhabi ideology.
Yeah, problem is that we use these Salafi principalities against in Afghanistan also for a long time. We call them mujahideens and all that. So it don't say that. Never say never. I mean, what helps me? Syria is the fight against Assad is the best to have somebody else go and destroy it so that I will come and finish the thing. That was probably the wrong policy.
Okay.
And I
All right.
think,
So
I hope that President-elect has a better policy and he will go straight against the ISIS.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Riazak. Thank you very much, Ms. Bazam. Audience, thank you for watching. Keep watching. We'll come with a new topic, new discussion next week. Keep watching Viewpoint from overseas.